This video is a continuation of section 1.2. It will cover homeworks number 5 and number 6. In this problem, we're going to be given a graph, and you're going to be asked to find function values. For example, here's my graph, and I'm asked to find f of 3. Now remember, this says to find y when x is 3. So I'm going to my graph and finding x at 3. Alright, here's x. 1, 2, 3. Now find the y value on your graph. So it would be this point right here. And the y value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5. Alright, the next, I'm looking for y when x is negative 5. So go to your graph and find x negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then here will be my value, and the y value would be positive 5. Remember, you're given x, you're looking for y. The next example, when x is negative 1, now here's x to be negative 1, the value on the graph is here, which is positive 1. When x is 2, the point on the graph is right there, so the y value is 0. When x is 3, your graph is here, and the y value is 3. X negative 7. Here's the graph. The point is actually at that particular point, so y is 0. Okay, in the next problems, we are given graphs, and we're asked to look for domain and range. Now, remember, domain is x, range is y, domain is a right-left movement, range is an up and down movement. And I'm going to look, the graph goes no farther to the left than this point, which is at 0, 4, and then it moves no farther to the right than this point, which is 2, 0. So, my domain says that x goes to the left to 0, and it goes to the right at 2. Now remember, you're moving left and right. Left is this point, right is this point, and I'm looking at my x's. So it goes to the left to 0, to the right to be 2. Now I'm using interval notation, and since it touches those points, we'll use a bracket. Range, now this is an up-down movement. It goes as high as this y and as low as this y. And we always go from bottom or low to high. So the lowest y is 0 and the highest y is 4. And it touches those points, so we put brackets. Now remember, x is domain, range is y. Alright, on the second one, domain. We're going from this point, which is negative 3, negative 1, to this point, which is 1, 4. And if you'll notice, this is an open circle point, so it doesn't touch. Alright, domain. The farthest to the left is negative 3, and there's a closed circle, so we touch. The farthest to the right, these are x's, is this point, which is 1, but that's an open circle, so we put a parenthesis. It goes from a low point of here, that's a negative 1y, to a high point of 4. It doesn't touch, so we put a parenthesis. And I think right here, I've written this wrong. That's a 2 right there. So that's going to change this point. Excuse me about that. Okay. I just calculated wrong. Alright, on number 3, this point is 1, 2. This point is negative 2, 5. And this one does not touch. You see it has an open circle. So domain, this is right and left. I go from a far left of negative 2 to a far right of 1. This one is closed, this one is open. Range. We go from a low y 2 to a high y 5. Remember, again, this one we touch, and this one is open. On the last section, you're going to see a little more realistically of how you're going to be looking at these, and these are the same types of graphs, but they're multiple choice, and at this point, this is the way you'll see your work. Now, it may be a little bit hard to read unless you've actually printed out this page, but this is pi, this is 2 pi, this is negative pi, this is negative 2 pi. Alright, domain, this is right, left. We go from this point to this point, and from range, remember, up and down, we go from a high here down to a low, which would be here. So the graph would go to this value to this value on the x-axis. So what's that going to be? It's going to be from negative pi to this point, 2 pi, and range is going to be from a bottom, which looks to be a negative 4, to a high, a positive 4. Now what we've got to do is find that in our answers. And I see here my domain that I talked about, and here's the range we talked about, so we'll say that that's answer C. Number 5, domain, we go from a left value that looks to be negative pi to a positive 2 pi, and range we go as high as 3 and as low as negative 3. Now you're going to match that in all your givens, and if you look through all your domains and ranges, you're going to see that C matches that, and you can tell, you can work with this after you practice a little. Number 6, domain, we go from a negative 3 to a 0, going right, left, and range we go from negative 1 as high as 3. So we'll look for domain at negative 3, 0, and range negative 1 to 3. That's going to be D. You won't be doing many of these in this lesson. We'll handle a little bit more of those in the chapters to come.